In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to develop a Spring MVC web application. We are going to create a dynamic web application in Eclipse, and then we are going to configure it as a Maven project. Then we will add the dependencies for the project to run. We are going to configure the log4j, Web XML, and Spring, and we will write our classes and view files. Let's start with Eclipse. First thing, I'm going to create a new project, a dynamic web project. I'm selecting project here and writing web, and I'm choosing the dynamic web project. Next, give a name to the project. I'm giving Spring Web Project. And then I'm clicking next, and I will choose the generate Web XML. Web XML is necessary for a web application to run. So our application is created. You can see the folders. There are no Java files, empty. We have the libraries necessary, Tomcat and JRE, and we have Web XML, which is created by the project. First, I will create an index.html file and show you the empty project running. I will create a new HTML file. I'm going to give the name index and finish. I already have a copy, so I will copy from here. This is just a simple HTML which is going to write hello Spring Web MVC. I'm saving it, and then I have a Tomcat web server to run the application. On this server, I'm going to add the application project. This is the previous application I wrote. I'm removing it. This is the new one, Spring Web Project. I'm adding it and finishing it. Okay, and now I will publish and start the project. Let's see if our template is running. Empty template, Spring Web Project. So in the console, you are seeing the server is started. I'm going to check the browser with this index.html, and the project name is Spring Web Project. I'm going to the browser. Here, localhost 8080 and Spring. The name of the project is Spring Web Project, and our file is index.html. Yes, hello Spring Web MVC. Our empty application is ready. Now we will start the next step. Our next step is the Spring dependencies and the Maven configuration. Now I will add Maven configuration to this project. If you right click on the project and choose configure, you will see convert to Maven project. Choose convert to Maven project and accept the defaults. There is group ID, artifact ID, version. If you want to change, you may, but I don't want to change now. The packaging is war. I'm just going to finish it. Now it converted the project as a Maven project and created a POM XML file. POM XML file is the Maven's configuration file for the packaging, dependencies, properties. I am going to add the Spring dependency files, jar files here. I already prepared it here. I will copy and paste from here and explain it to you. What are you using? Under build, I'm coming and pasting it. Here, if we check from the beginning what we have the Spring framework. Default, we are going to use the Spring context, which is using commons logging, and we are going to use Spring MVC and the aspect and the logging dependencies is, and sorry, and as it is a Java web application, we are going to use the Java servlet, JSP, and servlet. So our next step after configuring the POM XML is we are going to configure our logging. So every project has logging, and I'm going to create a log4j file. First, I'm coming here, this project. I'm going to create a source folder. I'm going to call it resources to put the configuration file here. And I'm going to create a log4j XML. I'm going to create an XML file. I'm choosing XML, and I'm going to give the name of the file as log4j XML. Next, and finish. Here, I'm going to copy and paste the file. And here, as you see, we are using the log4j appender configuration. We are using a console appender. This is going to write the log to the output to the console here. You can change it to a file appender. And the other things is our package com tutorial spring info. I'm going to use the level will be com tutorial, so it will be info. I'm changing it. And our next step is the configuration of the web project, web XML. I'm going to define the Spring listeners. We have already created a web XML, but it is just as the welcome files. Here, I'm going to put the location of the Spring configuration files, root context XML, application context XML, where we define the Spring beans and view resolutions. Here we have a Spring servlet, dispatcher servlet. We are defining it. By default, Spring is using its own servlet for URL resolving. And we also added the listener, context loader listener, for Spring to work properly. This is the web XML. I'm also going to put a link in the video, so you may download the source code from the video. The next thing is the root context XML, which is under webinf. I'm going to create. It's also empty. Oh, sorry, it should be XML, and choose XML file, and now give the name of the file. And the other configuration file is the which one Spring is going to use for it to run. It's called generate application context XML, but you can change the name. But when you change the name, don't forget to change it inside web XML file also. Here I'm going to explain it. The first thing is annotation driven. It says that Spring should be checking the classes also for the annotations. The second thing is for MVC, Spring MVC, to use the default servlet handler, which we define as dispatcher. The second thing is for the resources, check the resources directory, which we created here. and our bean definition for resolving the views, rendering the views. Here it says prefix webinf views. So whatever the view we are looking, it is going to be under webinf views directory. I'm going to create a folder here which is going to be called views. And this suffix is JSP. It is going to be used by the controllers when they see a return value like welcome, hello, main. It is going to add JSP automatically to those views and try to resolve them. And our package that we are going to use is com tutorial controller, and I'm going to create the package now. It is com tutorial controller. Okay. Now we configured our web application, we configured log file, we configured Spring, and now we are going to write our controller class. If you come and just copy this one, new class controller, so here the thing is, in Spring controller files we are defining them with the annotation controller, which is a Spring framework stereotype controller. It is telling Spring that this class is a controller class for the coming URLs. And inside this one, we have the methods. If you look at here, we have the methods. For example, the home method. In this home method, for the requests coming from the root, it is handled by this method. For the requests which are coming with as login, it is handled by this method. And for the requests with home URL, it is handled by login method. Now there is an error. As you see, it is asking for the user, and now I'm going to create the user class. It is another package. I'm going to create the package com tutorial and model, and in this package I'm going to create a new class which will be called user, and in this class I have a username attribute and get username and set username methods. And now if I come here and tell to find it with control space, it is going to suggest me com tutorial model, and I'm going to save it. Now our controller class is ready. Oh, it's asking an error, so there is a wrong copy paste. Okay, there is no error now. And now our view. The first view is, we are going to say this is the hello home. As you see here, this is the home returning. So I will create a home JSP here. I will create here JSP file. I will call it home. Be careful here. It is under views because we told Spring to check the webinf views. Remember? So this is the prefix for the Spring. Now I'm going to fill the inside of the, which is a simple JSP. You can change it. It is now going to print out the time of the server. Now if you run the server, which is already running, and I will restart the project in case. So let's see what's happening now. As you see, the console is printing the Spring Framework logs. It's saying that web application context is started. The servlet resource as root context XML, and the dispatcher initialization started, the dispatcher servlet, which is the default servlet of the Spring, and our resource webinf application context XML is defined, and our controller class, the request mapping handler mapping. It found the root, it found the login, it found the home, and now it knows how to handle those. You see, it will be going to our controller class, to home for the root URL, and for the login URL, it will be going to home controller class login page method, and for the home, it will be going to home controller login method. Spring knows now in which URL where to go. If you did properly, you will be seeing this on your console. Now we created the home JSP, and I will create the other two JSP files. The other one is the login new file. Login so it's saying submit value login, and the action is home. It is going to home after login, and our last JSP is the user JSP. I will create a new JSP file, and this is called user. Sorry, I will call it home. Oh, there is already one. It will be user, and finish. Now our JSPs are also ready. Now let's see what will happen when we call the root. Okay, it says hello Spring. Now if I write login, it's asking for the login, and I will write, for example, world here, username, login, says hi world. As you see, our Spring application is up and running. If you want to review what we have done, first we created a web project, dynamic web project. Second, we converted it to, we configured it as a Maven project, and it created the POM XML file. Then we put our dependencies that we are depending on Spring Framework. Then we configured our log4j file, which we created it under resources log4j, and we configured the root context and application context XML, which are Spring configuration files, and we configured the web XML. We told that dispatcher servlet is our servlet, and it is going to be serving as the dispatcher default servlet of Spring. Then we created our home controller class, user class which is used, and our views, and we started our application, and we saw it's running. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.